Hello, Passionistas. Welcome back to another episode of Keep the Passion, where we talk about all things keeping the passion alive throughout life and all the ups and downs of our 20s. This week, we're going to be kicking it off with our Mother's Day series, where we pretty much will be discussing the topic of motherhood as it relates to keeping the passion alive throughout all arenas of life. Given that life just demands so much of us women, right? It really does. And then motherhood demands so much of us as well. So, where's the balance? How do you keep that balance? How do you keep the passion alive with everything as it regards to motherhood and just being a woman going through this life through our 20s, right? So, yeah. So, we are kicking it off this week with Carmelita Middleton. And here she is. She's waiting, and she this is weird on video, guys. Excuse me if I'm a little awkward. We just added a new aspect. If you guys noticed, we were on video. So I found Carmelita's page. I think last year sometime, and I found her because she's a YouTuber here in Katy. I just thought that was interesting because I didn't know any YouTubers were here in Katy. And as I look further into her page, I noticed one she's a young mom. But I noticed that she didn't let motherhood kind of really slow her down and stop her from pursuing and just staying passionate and expressing that passion through her businesses. So she owns multiple businesses currently. And here at Keep the Passion, we're all about staying passionate. And she obviously is a very passionate person. So she's perfect to, kick off this motherhood series. How are you doing, Carmelita?
I am doing amazing. I'm so excited to be here to talk with you wonderful ladies, especially for motherhood and being a business owner. I'm so excited to give you the real, raw truth of my life and to be honest on what social media doesn't show you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I guess we'll kick it off with the first question. We have just a few questions for you, and then we'll just have regular banter in between. Let me see. I guess you know what? Share a little bit about your story first. Your motherhood journey.
Okay. Yeah, that is a roller coaster to say itself. I'm 23 years old. So when I first found out I was pregnant, I was 17 years old. And I was 17. My husband was 18. And it was just a roller coaster of emotions because it was my senior year of high school. So just to kind of give you a perspective, we don't graduate till May. So I had to, the whole entire 7 months of my pregnancy, I walked through high school pregnant. I had to go through all of the body changes and the hormone changes and the food cravings and the nausea while in high school. It's not an experience I would ever want to do again because it was really hard. I had friends. I had a lot of friends before I got pregnant. And then once I became pregnant, a lot of people thought
Change.
I had, they dropped me real quick, thought I had a disease. And I'm like, now that I think about it, I'm like, little Sally Lou, you were doing the exact same thing I was doing. The only difference is I got pregnant and kept my baby. And you didn't. So back then I was it was really hard just to go through the journey of watching all the people I went to high school with, get college acceptance letters and go off to college while I was home building a baby crib. It was really hard. Not long after I found out I was pregnant, I turned 18. And that was a little different because now I'm an adult and people are looking to me for advice on this human being that I've created with my now husband. And I can say that I am so grateful and so excited about the experience that I went through with motherhood. I blogged my whole entire journey all the way up till now with my daughter Peyton. She is now 4. And just to go through that journey of being a young mom, people are mean. People don't understand that the words they say will stick with someone for the rest of their lives. I've had 3 daughters now. So in total, I have 3 kids. My oldest piece, she's 4. My middle child is 3, and my youngest is 1. Every time I got pregnant with the next 2, I felt so like ashamed, because I'm like, when I got pregnant with my first, so many people were so rude and had such negative things to say. I already felt that way with the second. I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm older, and people are going to say the same thing, especially at 20, getting pregnant at 21 and having my youngest at 22. I mean, I'm much older. That's like a normal, like, no one's going to say anything to you age, but I was still had so much hurt from my first daughter experience. Now, never ever did I ever once think about like abortion. I knew that I was going to be confident in myself, and I was going to raise this child with such passion and dignity and let her know she is loved beyond measures. And because I was, 18 getting pregnant, like it didn't stop me from becoming a great mom. And I think as I started my journey, that was really hard for me to understand that people are going to judge you whether you're 18 or you're 23. I walk in to clinics all the time with my kids, and I'm like, hey, I have a doctor's appointment, and you still get stares, and people are like, oh, are you babysitting, or are these your like niece and nephews? And when I say I'm the mom, some people are like, wow, you're such a great mom, and some people are like, wow, you started young. And I'm like, I did start young, but I'm a great mom, and my kids have never not had the supplies that they needed, and have always had food in their bellies every single day because of the person that I am. Not because of my actions at 17 defined my whole life, but it's because I took something that might have definitely changed a lot of people, and a lot of people might have not went through it. But I took something that happened, and I made such a positive story for myself and a positive name for me, that now when people like y'all are like, wow, Carmelita, like motherhood didn't stop you. Like, no, I walked across the stage for senior year at 36 weeks pregnant. I was so big.
Oh my goodness.
Okay? I was so big that I had to wear my husband's cap and gown the year before.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I had no idea, like beginning of the year, or like, I don't know, like in around January, they
they give you that form to fill out and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to get measured because I'm pregnant, and I'm not going to get something that fits me now, and then I can't wear it. So yeah, that's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's such a sweet memory that I'm like, I got to wear my husband's cap and gown because we went to the same school, just a year apart. And so, but it's also like funny because I'm like, I never had my own. But I will say the experience of becoming a young mom made me who I am today. I am so much more driven, more confident. I put myself in situations that are going to make me grow. Like, I'm doing more now than I've ever imagined I'd ever do in my life. So, wow. Motherhood is amazing, but it doesn't stop you from anything. And so my journey is very different, but it's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, you just disappeared. Oh, there she is. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay.
Something happened.
Okay. Well, okay. So like first of all, like, I don't know, that it's nice seeing you still pursuing things. One, because like there's so many people out there, and I feel like I've seen this like this conversation on social media lately a lot, where like people are saying like, like a lot of times people use the excuse like, oh, I can't do this because I have to, hunker down and do this for my kids. When it should really be, no, I need to do like whatever this thing is for my kids. Yeah. Instead of using them as an excuse, use them for a reason to go for something.
100%, yes.
Yeah. And I love it. Like me and Kelby actually visited, we'll talk about your businesses in a minute, but we visited her. She has a event venue that she's doing. And we visited, and she has her daughters with her pretty much everywhere you go, right? You bring your daughters. And I love that because it really shows like you are doing this for them, and you're giving them a great example along the way by bringing them along with you and just showing them, everything that you can do. So yeah. So let's see. I guess the first main question that we have to ask for you is like, you know, how do you juggle being a mother and, you know, being a businesswoman at the same time?
I mean, what?
And how did you get? Yeah, you have 3 businesses, right?
Yeah.
And how did you get? Actually, I have another question first. How did you even get to the point where you were like? Because like, was there anything holding you back or stopping you, or a thought in your head like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go for these businesses? Like, how did you decide to finally to go into these businesses?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you had to have. I mean, we all have some kind of fear when we go into starting
100%.
businesses. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a great question because, like I said, I'm going to be real and honest with you. When I started Sparkle My Yard, how I started was I actually rented a sign for my daughter's first birthday. And for her second birthday, I used the exact same lady. And the lady messaged me and was like, hey, you and your husband are young. COVID had just hit. My youngest back then, which was Emmeline, she's now 3. She was, actually, I was pregnant. Yeah, I was pregnant. And okay, anyways, so the owner of that business messaged me and she was like, hey, do you want to come work for me? Like, this would be a great extra $500 for you and your husband. Back then, me and my husband didn't make anything. Like, we lived in a two-bed, 2-bath apartment. It was really nice, but we only had one income, which was my husband's. And I had nothing because I was solely a stay-at-home mom. And so anyways, fast forward, we were working with her for 6 months, and then she got moved. So she moved to Alaska with her husband. And it was kind of like like she sold her business. She went off. She kind of like just left. And I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do? You know, I liked having the extra income, and my husband and I really liked that we had like 2 hours of alone time. Whether we were working, it was still alone time for us.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was actually like, well, why don't you start your own? And then again, I had the fear of, well, Mom, no one's going to buy from me. No one's going to know who I am. I mean, right now, the only name I've made for myself is I was a teen mom. Like, when you think of me, you're like, oh, yeah, that's the girl who got pregnant her senior year. Like, that's how I felt. And I had to work hard to get over the fear of, okay, I'm going to meet so many more new people. And I have to suck the first year of my business for me to get to where I am now. And it's a lot of like anxiety that I went through of, okay, I'm putting myself out here. There could be really great reviews, or there could be really bad reviews where people are going to be like, okay, well, we're not going to use her because her work sucks. And there's this reel that this audio of a reel on Instagram that's like, you have to be okay with being bad at something for a period of time for you to be able to be great at it. And that's how I am. I've been doing Sparkle My Yard almost 3 years now. And my work, I can confidently say that I'm the best yard sign business in Katy, Texas, hands down, because I put so much time and knowledge and money for my inventory to look as good as it does, because I have done so much research and have decided that I want to be the best. And here I am making sure that when I set up someone's sign, when they walk out, it's going to be the best yard sign they've ever seen in their life. And I think I've done that. I think I can confidently say that I'm there. And it's taken me almost 3 years for me to be confident enough in my work. And it's crazy because you have so many times where you're like, okay, Carmelita, like, you can't do this. You have, back then was 2 kids. You have 2 kids. You're a mom. Like, you have to choose if you want to be a mom or if you want to be a business owner. But the thing is, I'm like, if something happens where I need extra money or I need, food to put more food on the table for our girls, I need to make sure that I can cover the bills. In any situation, anywhere that we live, if something happens to my husband where he can't work because he's a mechanic, so injuries happen all the time. I needed to make sure that I was in a space where I can cover the bills. And now, 3 years later, I can confidently say that I can, which is so crazy, because if you would have asked me 3 years ago, Carmelita, you're going to have such a successful business, you're going to be well known for your work, I would have hid underneath the covers because it wasn't the type of person that I was. And especially with the venue. So like you said, I'm opening up a venue called the Middleton Venue. And during this process, it hasn't been an easy process at all. And there's so many times where I've wanted to quit. And my husband was like, Carmelita, this is your dream. You need to do this. Continue on. And I'm like, well, Peyton, like, I can't get this certificate because this person needs a piece of paper that I don't know what I'm doing. And they're telling me that I need to climb this ladder, but won't give me the ladder to climb.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to swim across the river if I'm in a desert? Like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And so my husband Peyton, he's named, our oldest is named after him. So he's literally, him and my parents are like the main peoples that are like, okay, Carmelita, if they tell you need to swim across the desert, then you need to make the river. I mean, if you need to swim across the river and you're in a desert, you need to make the river. You need to make way for yourself, is what I'm saying. And I think that is the hardest thing, because being a business owner, you have to have so much confidence in yourself. You do, because especially the industry that I'm in, I'm 23 years old. There's so many people that are going to look at me and be like, okay, you have the people that are like, she's great, she's driven, she's amazing. And then you have the older generation that is like, she's still a baby, she doesn't know what she's doing. And it's hard when you're presenting yourself like, hi, to y'all, I'm a business owner. I have 2 businesses, 3 businesses. And you're like, wow, Carmelita's doing good. And then I could go into a room with like 80-year-olds and they're like, oh, you're a baby. Like, you don't know what you're doing yet.
You got a lot to learn. Like, it's true. But, you know, it's like we have a lot to learn, but, you know, they had to learn the same things too.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know? So I think basically, to answer your question, is I have anxiety all the time, whether I'm doing something good, whether someone likes my sign. Like, I just did a sign at Chick-fil-A on Pin Oak. This is my second sign.
Nice. I'm gonna have to go see it. Congratulations.
Yeah, and it's this big, beautiful sign, and I'm like putting down the stakes, and I'm doing what I normally do. And my husband's setting everything up with me, and then I look at it, and I'm like, is this good enough? And my husband's like, Carmelita, look at it. And I'm like, you have to have that inner confidence in yourself to be like, yes, this is the best I've ever done. And I am going to put my name on it. And I think that's what a lot of businesses fail, because they don't have the confidence in themselves. It's not that they're not making enough.
It's like a sense of like, it's like this delusional confidence where it's like things are like stacked against you. Yeah. But it's like, you're still like, no, I'm going to make it. I know I can, you know? And I like that you said, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I think like me and Kendall both relate so much, because I say that a lot, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I also have this confidence where it's like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, there's no way that this is going to go wrong for me. Somehow it's going to turn out right.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that's how I am. I'm like, I will walk into a room, I will shake a lot of people's hands, I will tell them hi, hello. But it's like, you have to have the confidence in yourself to say, I belong in this room. I belong here with every single person that's in this room, because I'm the one who got here. I didn't have hand-me-downs. I didn't start from a very wealthy family. I started with myself. And to even say I've already had things stacked against me, because I had 2 kids. So it's funny, because I always joke with my mom. I'm like, Mom, you didn't want me to get pregnant as a teenager, but I got pregnant twice as a teenager. So I don't know what to say to you. But yeah, so I think confidence is definitely key in any situation.
Yeah, there's something I shared on my Instagram story recently. It says, as an entrepreneur, I am blessed to have just the right amount of delusion to believe anything is possible for me. And it's true. You really do have to have that. It's like, other people would think, she's not gonna, there's no way she's gonna make it. Like, how is she gonna do this? But we do it, you know? We get it done. So how do you balance the business with motherhood?
I don't. That, the real raw truth, I don't. It is the biggest struggle, because I don't have set hours. I'm constantly being a mom 24/7. When I'm setting up signs, I'm thinking, okay, I need to set up this sign so I can go with my child. It is the hardest thing I've ever had to do, especially
What's a typical day look like for you?
Okay, so a typical day, I get up probably around 9. I'm not a very like early bright riser. So we get up around 9, and instantly I get my girls in the shower, right? And once they're in the shower, then I'm like doing social media. I'm going through social media. I'm, doing everything that I need to do for the social media. And then I get them out. I start breakfast because breakfast, like most important meal of the day, you need to make sure they're hyped. Once they are eating breakfast, I'm back. Creating reels, posting, messaging clients.
Right.
Once they're done like eating, then we do like playtime. They go outside, but I'm constantly having to make sure that I keep their needs and then make sure that I'm making my clients happy at the same time. It was funny because before this podcast, I was talking to one of my best friends who lives in Kansas, and she was like, "What would you say if you were talking to me?" And I told her, I said, "Bailey, it's like having to balance motherhood and business is like, as a person, is if someone pushed me into the ocean and I'm having to learn how to swim without floaties, and a shark is eating my leg. Like it's a
it's survival
coaster.
mode.
Yeah.
And you homeschool too, right?
Yes. So I actually homeschool my oldest. Yeah, that is a very big part of my day. Is 3 hours out of the day she is learning. She's looking at educational videos. I'm teaching her how to write her name. I'm doing everything that she needs to know so that if she goes to kindergarten, because she's in pre-K right now, if she goes to kindergarten in a public school, that she would be ready. I never want my child to ever go into a situation where she doesn't feel confident. Any of my kids. And so I set up my signs from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. So if I'm doing signs at night that, with that length of time, I'm not with my kids. My mom has my girls. She's amazing with them. They do like pizza and stuff, but I'm constantly checking up on them, making sure they're okay, and still have to go out there and provide a big, luxurious sign for a client while I'm away from my kids. Like it's a really hard balance, and I could never give someone advice on how I do it, because the truth is I can't. Like it is something that you just do. It just becomes your new normal. But it is hectic out here. It's not for the definitely not.
For the week.
Okay, but if you had to give a piece of advice to someone, then what would it be? Just one thing.
I would tell them to take it one day at a time.
Okay.
Make sure that your kids are your priorities. When I'm with my girls, they are my top priority. Whether you wanted your sign up at 6 p.m., if I'm tucking my kids at night at 6 p.m. or I'm taking my girls to my mom's, I'm going to make sure that they are taken care of first before I get to my clients, because at the end of the day, I'm a mom, and no one overpowers that. My girls are first. My girls are first, and then it's my business. I know that a lot of people might be like, well, that's kind of crazy. Like, your business makes you money. But my kids, I physically made my kids, and I will make sure that at any point in time, they're well taken care of. If I it's hard because you can't beat yourself up as a mother. Everyone tries to juggle so many things at one time. And when you're a mom, especially to multiple kids, it's hard because you want to make sure that you have connections with each one of your kids and, grow a successful business. So my advice would just to take one day at a time. It'll become your new normal, and you're going to lose parts of yourself in a sense, because you're going to be so used to staying every day with your kids. But it's like you have to look at the bigger picture. If I'm away from my kids for 2 hours and I'm making, a name for myself, that's going to benefit me so much more than if I was, home for those 2 hours. Like, it's a give and take thing. So just take one day at a time, and just be patient with yourself. It's a hard situation to leave your kids. I mean, sometimes my girls, they cry for me, and I'm like, I have to go do this sign. I have to make sure that this sign is up. And then they understand, but it's still hard, especially with my youngest. She doesn't ever cry, but when she does, it's hard, because it's like, I'm a mom, but I have to leave you so I can go put up a sign for someone else's kid. So Yeah.
You definitely have to give yourself grace for sure.
Yeah, Foila always says, give yourself grace.
Real and raw, you talked about how sometimes the balance of like putting your kids first. Could you share a time where you feel like you weren't able to do that and like how that may have affected them? Like in the balance of showing up as a businesswoman and being a mom, and sometimes, like you said, it doesn't always look perfect or it's not always a balance. Could you share like a time where you feel like, you know, you were a little hard on yourself or it just got a little difficult?
You know, I'm actually in that scenario with my venue. What no one really knows is opening up a venue has always been my passion, but also it's kind of hard because, you know, you have to choose, do I want my oldest to go to public school because I'm deciding to work a normal, you know, 9-to-5 job again? And it's hard, but I have to realize that I can have my kids with me at the venue because I own it. And that's, you know, if someone comes in like for tours, you know, if they want to tour the venue, like my kids are
Your
going
little
to
kid jumping around isn't going, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also that my oldest, my middle child, and my youngest will always be with me at the venue. Unless there's like a wedding or there's an event, then of course they're gonna, you know, they'll have to be with my mom. Like me and my mom do the venue. But it's hard because you have to understand that now you're a business owner and you're a business, like I'm a real like brick and mortar business owner. And sometimes it's like, it pulls on my heartstrings because it's like, am I going to miss staying home and cuddling up with them on the couch and watching movies all day? Yes. Or am I going to make a future for them?
Right.
And it sucks, but I've chosen that. And that's one thing that keeps bothering me, but I can cuddle with them at the end of the day. And it's not like I'm leaving. They're not going to daycare. They're going with me. They're going to be at the venue. They're great. But it's a balance of you cannot be so hard on yourself. And it sucks because, you know, you have to.
I hear that you're saying long term. Like that's the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's the much bigger picture.
Yeah, and they'll, you know, as they get older, they'll appreciate, they'll understand, and they'll appreciate that you showed them that example too. But also remember, nothing in this life is permanent. So like, if you start this venue and you have perfect or perfect, and you have all this success with it, and I'm sure you are going to, like, if you get to a point where you say like, you know, I want to be back home again with them. Like you can, nothing's permanent. You can always go back to that, you know? Yeah. So it's, you know, it's okay to like, just pursue it. Cause like I said, it's not permanent and nothing has to be permanent. So yeah. Let's see, Carmelita. My next question is what advice would you give to young mothers such as yourself? What would you give to moms, you know, who are just kind of struggling with being, I mean, especially like you said you had your first daughter when you were 18, like especially being at the age like, and like you said, seeing everyone kind of, you know, I don't want to say moving on because you were moving on to direction, but like moving in a different direction or moving in the direction that maybe you thought that you were going to be moving into. What advice would you give to them in that situation? And then also, what advice would you give to other young moms who, you know, who want to start a business or, you know, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so with the advice that I give to a teen mom as myself it is temporary. You're going to grow up. Your daughter or your son is going to grow up with you. And I think that's the most amazing thing is a lot of people look at teen parents that's like awful. And I get it. You know, now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, I was a literal baby. But my literal baby that I had at 18, you know, she's 4. And it's fun because my advice is embrace your youngness as being a mom. I go to trampoline parks and I'm always the only mom that is jumping through the trampoline park. Yeah. And there's like normal age moms who are in their
sitting
30s,
on the side.
On the side
I love that too. Yeah.
And I'm this makes no sense. You wanted to have kids, now get off your phone and play with them.
I agree.
So I think that's also a lot of things, like a lot of reasons why I get asked if I'm babysitting, because like if I'm going to a park
I'm
if
having
I'm
fun.
not working or messaging back somebody, I'm going down the slide with my child. You know,
Yeah.
I'm being a kid again because I didn't really, I mean, the last almost 2 years of my teenage years, I had to become a parent. And I am so forever grateful for that because I get to experience my children at such a young age. Like, I'm excited. And so my advice is just to embrace your youngness and get out there and work as hard as you can and jump with your kids. Like, play with them, be their best friend, but obviously have like the parent boundaries. But have a relationship with them where you can be like, wow, like I love going to the park with you. I love doing this, and be more involved in their lives than I guess their people will be. My advice for a young mom who wants to pursue a business, start. Don't start tomorrow. Don't start, in a month from now. Start. You have an idea, go for it, because here's the thing. You don't know how your business is going to grow unless you do. What maybe y'all don't know this, but my first business I ever had was a candle business, and it was called Mama Carm Candles. And I did that business for literally a year and a half, and it sucked. I mean, I made like no money. I did little like market shows, and I made enough to be able to continue to do it for a year and a half, but was nothing compared to Sparkle My Yard. Like, that's why I'm saying if you fail, at least get right back up, dust yourself off, understand that, hey, this is a business. Businesses fail all the time. You're not the only one, and continue on. Your kid, I feel like people who use the excuse of my children, like, oh, I can't do it because my kid, I can't do so. No, pick up your kid and go do it. If you see me at meetings, just like y'all saw me at the venue, I have my girls. I mean, my girls are running around, but they're kids. They, I mean, and I'll let people know, like, hey, my kids are coming with me. Just expect them to just be a kid. But, I also have that balance where if I'm going to a real big extreme meeting like this, then yeah, my kids will be with my mom. But don't be afraid to adventure out, because adventuring out can definitely change your life like it did mine.
And then to any like young person, like anyone in their 20s, like just start it. I mean, at any stage, but like I feel like when you're like in your early 20s, like just
you're so in your head,
because you have so much time. Like there's nothing to lose at that point.
So much time, and at the same time, it's gonna go by fast. So like, don't.
And it's kind of crazy because, especially with me, what I have to learn is, once you get older, you will realize that no one really, I guess, cares about you, in a sense of no one's talking about you. No one's going behind your back like in high school. Everyone is on their own little journey, and they're trying to pursue themselves. So I think that's also, a lot of people are like me. When I first started Sparkle My Yard, I was so afraid that people were gonna, like, I guess, not use me. Like, oh, I don't want to use Sparkle My Yard because blah, blah. But it's like, no one cares. Like, I'm 23. I just turned 23. And it's like, you have to realize that business is a business, and Katy is so big, and you're going to meet so many different people than your little 700 people in high school.
Right.
And half those people honestly moved away. And it's funny because I'm like, the only people that stayed in Katy were the people who had babies young. So, and I know all of them, and they're great. So it's like, just start your business.
Yeah, I like that. You bring your kids to meetings and stuff, because I've never worked in corporate America, but I feel like it's easy to forget that people have children, and it's not like deemed acceptable kind of to have them in a business setting. So it's kind of like you're kind of setting a different standard. Like, this is me. This is how I do business. I feel like
family oriented.
Yeah, I feel like with the younger generation, we're trying to set a new standard for business. Like, I feel like I'm always telling like my fiance Alex that like this is how I want to run a business. I know that there's already kind of they say don't remake the wheel or something like that. Yeah. But like I just like there's
like
different
if it's not
ways
broke,
to
don't
do
fix
things.
it type thing.
Yes, I just like it. Like, there's different ways to do things. There might be better. better ways that are healthier for our family, like to have a
Mhm.
business, to be
Yeah.
a business owner. So I like
I
that you're
love
kind of
that.
setting that standard.
That is true, and it's
Yes,
in a
and
good part. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're good. Go. You're good.
I agree with Kelby because we do live in a society where I feel like the holdback with having kids is that you have to like not be like, a lot of people say like, okay, once you become a mother, like it doesn't become about you or anything that you want. And to an extent, I do understand, like, you know, you sacrifice, but carrying your kids with you is showing that I can still be a mom and I can still pursue every dream and passion that I have for myself.
Mhm.
So you are like breaking the mold and not like fitting in the box of like, this is what motherhood needs to look like. Like you're defining, this is what it looks like for me. And it's inspiring because it gives people the freedom to create their own version as well. Like what they want to do. That's very important. So
Yeah.
I do love that. And I also I wanted to add to your advice because I love that you have the support. Like a lot of young people don't have that. And I feel like what I take away from like hearing you is like, if it's not your mom or you're not fortunate to have a husband, like to find your support. Cause I'm sure like the women that you know from your high school are like your little village as well. Like finding those people that will help you along the way is important too. So that's really dope.
Most definitely. Thank you. Yeah. And you know, it's so funny because I do market days and I host market days, and there's so many times where the women are like, well, is it okay if I bring my kids? And I was like, well, I mean, if you want, my kids are going to be there. So it's basically a free play date. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I see it as, if we're, like you said, let's break the mold. And that's exactly what I'm doing. If we're going to do business together, I don't want to, you know, I want to be able to bring my girls with me because at the end of the day, they're my responsibilities. I'm not going to drop them off somewhere and expect someone else to watch them for me to go out to a meeting, which I can, but it's the fact that I want my oldest and I want my children to grow up and see mom took them to meetings.
Yeah.
Mom showed them how you're supposed to interact with people and how you're supposed to hold yourself accountable.
That's really dope.
Yeah. And so, you know, I'm like, if I have to sit here and we have to go to Chick-fil-A for our kids to play, for us to talk about, you know, X, Y, and Z, let's do it.
Right.
You know, let's work together. I'm working with your schedule, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely, I think I'm breaking the mold, and I'm so excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we that reminds me. Our dad used to take us to his open houses with them.
He used to do real estate in California.
That's why I like looking at houses so much now, because he used to take us to
that's
all
something that stays with you.
Yeah,
we would help him like pass out the flyers and
the brochures to people. He would buy some tamales like as our reward.
So
it's good.
That's cute. In the same way, her daughters will like grow up and remember like my mom is a business. Like you're really setting the root for them to grow up with like a good foundation of an example of like what a woman can do if that's something they want to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love that. Yes, yeah. I always tell my husband, I said, you know, I want to open doors for our children, but I don't want to be the reason they walk through it. I just want to give them the door for someone to say, oh, you're Carmelita Middleton's daughter. Okay, let me give you a chance. But the only reason you're going to get this job or this promotion or this opportunity is because of you, not because of her. Yeah. And that's what I want. I want my kids to have a door because of the opportunities I'm putting myself in.
Right. That's so important.
Right. Well, okay, I have one final question. And that is, let's see. Well, okay, so this is kind of a broad question. And this is like like all arenas of life. So this isn't just business and career. Like this is like your marriage, like as a wife and everything, just all the different roles that you play in people's lives and in your life, you know. So I guess like what advice would you give to moms who may be struggling to keep the passion alive in all the other arenas of life as well? You
know what? This question was so hard for me to answer because it's the fact that from 18 to, I don't even know how long. From 18 to like 21, I went through postpartum depression and I had no idea. it was really hard because I got married at 19. My husband and I this year will make 7 years together, 4 years married. And I love him to death. You know, we grew up together. I met him at 16 and now I'm 23. So like I met him a week before I turned 17, but it's the fact that we grew up together. But it's, you know, like you said, how do I keep the passion? How do I, you know, keep every part of myself nurtured? And from the time that I had my oldest to the time I had my third daughter, so from July of 2018 to January of what's her birthday? 2022, I was in probably the lowest part of my life. Not like, I was just not myself. There wasn't a time where I felt like myself at all. You know, I thought motherhood was this mold where if I had a baby, now I don't get to put on makeup. I don't get to do my hair. My mental health, my physical health, my hygiene, everything had to be on hold because I had to care for this living being. And it's hard because postpartum is so real and not a lot of people go through it. So from July of 2018 to January of 2022, in most of my pictures you will see me in, I have my hair in a bun. And it's not because that's the style I wanted. It's because I had no time. I thought, you know, it's not that I didn't have time, but in my sense is if I took 10 minutes for myself, I was neglecting my daughter. And it was a hard thing for me to understand that I was going through. And it wasn't that I was sad all the time. I wasn't ever sad. It was just, you're going through this stage in life where people are moving on. You're having babies back to back. I mean, it's a scenario of, okay, well, I just had, you know, my second baby. I'm 20 now, and like I got pregnant at 19. It was just a really hard thing for me to go through. And then when I had my third daughter last year, it was different. And I realized I went through postpartum depression with my other two daughters because I didn't have something for myself. So when I had Oakland, which is my third daughter, I had Sparkle My Yard, and Sparkle My Yard was already up for almost 2 years, and I was making my own money, and I had my own employees, and I was doing everything that I needed. I mean, I was bringing home over $2,000 a month, and I got to stay home. And it was a sense that for those 3 years, I had no idea I was going through such a dark spot in my life that I had to sit back after I had my youngest. And I was like, wow, I don't feel the same way that I did with the other two. And it's not because I wasn't happy to be a mom. It was, I forgot who I was. I forgot who Carmelita is without my kids. And it's still something I go through every day where I'm trying to figure out who I am. Because if you ask me who I am, I'm a mom. And that's amazing and it's great, but I'm also a wife and I'm also a sister and I'm also a daughter, but I don't know who those people are to this day. I have to still figure out who I am without my kids. And it's going to take time, and I'm going to figure it out. But this part of me that I had to deal with so young has definitely changed me and who I am. But I'm definitely not, I don't know. I can't give someone advice because I don't have the advice for myself. I can't tell someone that, oh, it'll all be okay. And in reality, it will. But postpartum depression is such a real raw thing that you would have never seen me in makeup like this last year. I had my hair in a bun. And the reason why is because I didn't brush my hair. I know that sounds crazy. Like I would brush my hair, but I didn't put like product in it. And I just, at that point in time, I just didn't feel beautiful in my own skin. I felt that if I took 10 minutes to put on mascara, I was neglecting my children. So it is hard because we are all going through different stages of our life. Yeah. And you'll get through it. So is everyone. And I'm getting through it, but you have to figure out what keeps you happy, and you have to figure out why it keeps you happy. And for me, it's owning a business, it's being a business owner, it's having my own income, it's providing for my family. So that's just another little raw truth about me, but I am so much more happier than I've ever been in my journey of motherhood. And like I said, postpartum depression is so real, and you will never see it on someone, because if you look back through my pictures of like in 2018, 2019, and 2020, like I'm smiling because I'm happy, but it's like behind closed doors, I was beating myself up like, okay, Carmelita, you're 21 right now, or you're 20, and your friends are about to graduate high school, or not high school, college. What are you doing? You know, I dropped out of college last year to pursue Sparkle My Yard, to do a little bit more. I was going to school to be a vet tech. And I realized that that's not what I want to do anymore, because I don't want to be away from my kids 14 hours of the day. I want to be able to make my own schedule. So
Yeah.
that's my little advice, or just a little raw, real truth of myself is that. So
Yeah. I'm glad you made it through that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I feel like I relate to what you said. I mean, obviously I don't have children. I haven't gone through postpartum depression, but I understand what you're saying when you're like, you know, you kind of lose yourself. I like it. Yeah. I feel like I've been through that before. And I feel like also as I get closer to 30, I'm kind of looking around and I'm like, people are doing this and that. It's like, where am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing right now? So
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I definitely didn't want to end off on a sad
Oh,
note.
No, of course not.
No.
So let's see. I don't know if we're doing passion moves during this episode.
I mean, why not? Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Carmelita, you can participate in these two.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, actually, let's see. What's today's date? Today's 26th.
Mhm.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so April is almost over. Oh wait, hold
God,
on.
I can't believe.
Wait, this is about
What?
my screen recording.
Oh yeah,
out there in 2 weeks. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold
guys,
on.
this is
we're putting this out here in like 2 weeks. Okay. Actually, okay, whatever. So for next week, for next week, what are our passion moves?
just for the next week, or for like
We can do for the next week.
okay,
Yeah.
for like the month of May.
Do you want to do the month of May?
Either one, whatever
Okay,
you have.
so the passion moves for the month of May. Boy, why are you looking like that?
It's the next week.
Yeah, no, I mean for the month of May. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, for the month of May, what is everyone's passion moves? What are we doing?
I am trying to, and it's all of my passion moves usually revolve around finances. you guys know that if you listen to all of our episodes. Yeah, my month of May is with Sick Marketing. I really want to attract at least 4 clients. You know, I want to get 4 clients, you know, signed and locked in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Very specific.
Hopefully I can achieve that. We'll see.
Fuela.
I'd like to go last.
Okay.
Okay, for
I'm trying to think.
my goals for the month of May is graduation season for Sparkle My Yard. So I definitely want to book over 45 signs. I haven't hit 45 yet, so I'm fingers crossed this will be the month. And to get the Middleton Venue up and running. That is my big one.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice.
I hope you do get it up and running.
Yeah.
I know how it is dealing with the permit department here in Katy, but let's hope that they
You
get
got it.
My passion move for the month of May is getting Diet to Lifestyle going. Launching Diet to Lifestyle.
Can you explain to us what Diet to Lifestyle is? I don't think we all know. What?
You didn't explain Sick Marketing.
You don't want to? Well, you can explain it again.
Okay,
It's
so
okay.
You didn't explain
We
Sick
have to
Marketing.
cut all this
out.
I didn't explain what Sick Marketing
Okay,
is.
so okay, so my passion moves for the month of May. So if you guys follow my page, then you know that I'm starting. Go follow my page if you don't. But if you already do, you've seen me post things from Diet to Lifestyle, and Diet to Lifestyle is my nutrition coaching, my health and wellness company that I am building, and I'm launching it on May 24th. We'll do meal prep services and one-on-one nutrition coaching, as well as I will be launching my first coaching program, and I'm really excited about it. It's a 90-day program, but we'll talk about that in another episode when you get launched. So that is my that's my passion move for the month. It's getting everything else that needs to be done for that lifestyle done and getting launched.
Okay.
Everyone has a business here. So.
I'm gonna jump in and explain real quick. Foyla said I didn't explain basic marketing.
No, you didn't. Mm-hmm.
And she's right. Thank you, Foyla, for reminding me. Sometimes it's like we know what we're doing, but we forget to explain to others what we're doing. So SICK Marketing is a marketing company that seeks to kind of help small businesses elevate and reach their goals through marketing, digital marketing, social media, website design, and branding. So I actually will be having my first workshop next month. It's going to be virtual. I haven't announced it on my social media yet. Actually, this month, when this comes out. This month, May 17th, I have it scheduled.
What's the workshop on?
Canva.
Okay.
That's going to be the first one.
Got it.
So yeah, that's it.
Foyla.
I don't know what my passion to stay passionate. I've been feeling like I've been going through the motions a little bit with life. So I guess as like the summer's coming, honestly, I decided that the fall is gonna be like my time to like go back to school and like focus on creating the life that I want as far as childcare is concerned. So right now I'm like trying to do like the behind the scenes, but also like enjoy the summer, because similar to what Carmelita and Kelby said, I felt like I lost myself a lot last year, and so I am kind of like feeling like I owe myself like a lot of fun this year or this time. And so I'm working on not feeling guilty about it while also still like handling my responsibilities. So just like figuring out how to balance both is hard right now. So I think that maybe I need to work on that. Like, so making sure
try to balance having a hot girl summer, but also
while still, going home. Yeah. So
okay. I just imagine you like doing business stuff in the day and then like dancing at night.
And then going on
Oh goodness. All right. Well, I think that's it.
I wish everyone the best of luck with their passion moves.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
everybody.
Yes. Carmelita, thank you for joining us. This is a really good conversation. And just to all of our listeners out there, I hope that you guys could take something from her story, and
we should share something.
You can see her passion, huh? What's up?
We should share something that we took away, because I have something.
Okay, I like that. I like that. We could do that.
I could go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Or the biggest takeaway I feel like I got from your story is like believing in yourself. Like a lot of pursuing goals or like accomplishing things, we have like all this outside noise, like how you talked about, worrying about what people were going to think or if people were going to support. And like you said at one point, nobody's thinking about you. Like, a lot of it being in our heads. I love the thing that's always like, it's really you versus you. So really like believing in yourself, having that, what you guys said, that delusional confidence. I call it faith, because a lot of like doing things is like, you have to see things that aren't there yet. And not really caring if anyone else can see it, as long as you can see it and go after that.
I just read a passage about exactly what you just said in one of my books I'm reading. I literally just read a passage exactly what you just said, that like believing in something that you can't see yet.
Yeah, it's very biblical, but it's definitely like, you got this because you can believe it, and if you put the work in, like you said, you sacrifice, you sometimes balance things, sometimes don't, like it'll come to pass, and that you're a living testimony of it with Sparkle My Yard, with your venue site, and to the many other things that your heart goes after. Like, just believe in yourself, and I think everything else will really follow. So I'm super inspired by you, because to be 23, to have 2 businesses, to carry your children around, it's like, what's your excuse to anybody else? Like, we all have our own struggle and setbacks, but you really got to get out of your head. Like, I was listening to this clip on Instagram, and the lady is married and with 4 kids, and someone asked her like, what is your advice to single people, and like it was biblical, so like focusing in on God. And she was like, what single people don't realize is that they have time. Like while you have the beautiful blessing of being a wife and being a mother, like that is a daily, you know, work that takes up time. But when, you know, for me, like you're single, you don't have that, you have time. Like, and she was just like, time is a resource, so use it. So I'm super inspired that you've taken, you know, your life and made the time for what you want. So it inspires me to do the same. And I hope that listeners can hear that if you can do it, like, so can I type thing. That's why it's so important to like share stories. Like, you know, a lot of times, like again, we get in our own heads and don't think that we can accomplish things, but more than accomplishing things is sharing how you accomplish them, because you can inspire the next person. So I love that you came here and shared your story. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm so glad that you got something out of it, and it's amazing because, like, you know, like God says, have faith the size of a mustard seed, and you can move mountains. And I got my mustard seed, so I'm
yeah, you do. You got a garden over there, girl.
Oh goodness. You want to go next? You want me to go next?
I'm not sure, so okay. You go ahead.
Well, one, I like what you said, Phil, about her being inspirational, because like when I saw on her Instagram that she was like doing the Middleton Venue, I was like, look at her, like she's doing it, you know, like okay. I see her page and I'm just like, okay, kind of, you can get your stuff together. Let's go. So, but my takeaway, I like the read, kind of just like read. What did you say? Making a new standard for like
for businesses,
and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Because one of the things that I was telling like my husband, our listeners know none of us have kids. At least at this point, we don't know what the future holds. But I was talking to my husband. I was telling him, like, if we ever do, like, I don't want it to look like what I've seen. I want it to look like the examples that I've had. I want it to look like something totally different. And I hope that, like, we talked about it, because I'm like, I need you to be okay with this, pretty much. So I do. I like that you are drawing a new standard for, you know, what it looks like to be a mother and a business owner and everything. Because we need, you know, there are people out there that we kind of need that example to be like, okay, maybe this could work, you know.
Something else out there.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to work your whole entire life and have someone else raise your kid. You want to work and raise your child with you. I mean, if I always tell my husband, I said, Peyton, when I go places and people see me with the kids like at work, you know, they're gonna be like, wow, like, okay, she couldn't have get a babysitter. But if my husband walked into the Middleton Venue with 3 kids and did a meeting,
they would exactly. Like, they would be praising him.
It's different. So I'm glad. Yeah. So when you decide to have kids, whenever that may be, strap your baby to your chest with a little swaddle thing and go to work, girl. I mean, you've got this.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I took away most of the part about losing yourself. I feel like I lost myself when I was in college in Miami. After Boila left and after I was kind of there in Miami by myself, I really feel like I lost myself, and I feel like I'm still getting back to it. Like I graduated 2019. I feel like I'm still getting back to myself. So knowing that, like, you know, other people go through the same thing, and even like recently, my fiance like came in and he was like basically, so, you know, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you like to do and stuff? And I don't know what inspired him to say that to me. And I was like, I don't know.
I think I'm asking Brandon that when he's
like,
today.
Yeah, but for me, I feel like I lost myself in Miami, and then I've been in survival mode for so long that it's like I don't know what I like to do outside of trying to like grow this business and make money. So, but I think, yeah, I relate to the part about you saying, you know, you didn't have something for yourself yet. So, and that's what I'm trying to like build right now, is having something for myself. I feel like that will.
That's a good message to the people that are stuck in the middle. Like they're not quite at the.
I'm still there. Like I'm still trying to find myself.
Yeah, it's a process.
It
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm 27 and I'm still trying to find myself.
Hey, there's people 50 and not figured it out.
You're right. You're right. That's
there's
true.
There's no age to it.
Yeah,
it's true.
All right. Well, yeah, this is good.
It was good. I like this. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
experience.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's what
Well,
this
then
podcast
don't.
is about. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carmelita. And to all of our listeners out there, if anything in this episode resonated with you, or you have a friend or family member that you think would really like this episode, share it with them. Okay.
If they need a yard sign, hit up Carmelita.
Yes.
Katy area. Exactly.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we'll include all of her information.
Yes, we will definitely link all of her information in the show notes. Make sure you go and you rate and review this podcast episode. And remember to stay prosperous, purposeful, and most importantly, guys, stay passionate. We'll see you next time.